Hello and welcome back. Princess Royal running again. We've got the 00 running as well. We are going to have a look at some TC items shortly, but just as I had this lot running the other day, it looked pretty good with 4 trains with all maroon coaches running. I thought we'd just sort of open with that today and see if we can get a few interesting shots. So things are generally picking up a little bit of pace. Here comes the Princess. Ooh, losing track. I was looking at the wrong thing there. I think we've got to take some power out of that 00 diesel there. 3F tender loco coming round there. Actually, let me attend to the 00 because I think that's warming up and gathering pace. So let's just take something out of that. There we go. Let's see how that does. It's all things that have been on the railway for a little while. Well, I think the Princess Royal was always going to spend quite a bit of time on the railway. And there we've got a handful of the TC items that we're going to have a look at there, and we've got the TC Pacific. There's that diesel locomotive looking a lot calmer coming through the station this time around. We're going to get 2 trains under the elevated track here. And the Duchess of Montrose storming around the outside line. Not going to be able to keep focus on that. Let's see if we can grab hold of it coming up here. Definitely running at some speed now. Gorgeous train. So if I begin to bring some of these things to a stop, let's get the diesel locomotive, the 00 diesel. Let's see if we can encourage that to a stop just under the window. And then past the windmill in the background there. Princess Royal in the foreground. See if we can have a nice stop there just after the footbridge perhaps there. And then Duchess of Montrose just coming in from the right. I think we'll have that to a stop. Just there. Now let's see where the triangle is. So here comes the Princess Royal. And I think we'll bring this to a stop near the station here. Sorry, not near the station, but in the station. Something's making a gentle squeak there. 3F tender locomotive just trundling through underneath there. There we go. That's quieting down a little, hasn't it? So we'll just follow this round one last time, and I'll try and remember where I put down the controls for it. A gentle purr coming from that. I see the controls in the corner of my eye there. We'll just grab these. And we'll get this to a gentle stop here. There we have it. Let's just put the controls down here. So we'll just have a look over these items here. So we've got the TC Pacific. This came to me. This is sort of X set, so I don't have the rest of the set, but it's obviously come out of a set at some point in its life. So acetate model. Look at the bend in that tender. So because the condition of the decals, I haven't gone overboard with cleaning any of this stuff really. Just clean the relevant bits to make the engine run. And this is the early one, and it's got that cow catcher. So that's all acetate there. Dummy light on the front, but we'll have that out of the box in a moment. Let me get some numbers for you on here. So R.54 TC Pacific. So from 1954 to 64, becoming the Hiawatha at some point in the early 60s with a nameplate on there. We've had a look at one of those in the past. This one's got the beautiful solid wheels and plain valve gear. The tender was R32. So later variants were in sort of in polystyrene, and ended up with a white line running along here. We had different bogies were available. These early ones were replaced. I can't quite speak. So we'll get these things out in a moment and have a look. So we have a gondola here. I'm looking at my notes and not where I'm putting putting my hands here on the camera. So that's in blue, and I think that shares the same bogies as the not caboose. Let's get them both in shot. Have we got the same things on there? I think we have. We've got the same ones, the same bogies in use there, and I think this caboose that I've got up here also has them as well. We'll come back to the caboose. That's the caboose is the only one with its original box out of this lot. So gondola, 1954 to 63, variety of colours available, and I think it was available longer than that, perhaps in the I'll get the words out, Canadian range of models. Let's have a look over there. There we go. We've got TR 3576 on the side. All these are sort of quite rattly. So we've got the gondola, and then we've got the long box car. So R136. So quite an interesting looking model. We've got a triangle underneath there, 136 hiding under there under the underframe. So these are all in various sort of conditions of being very play worn. Do the doors open on this? Some of these models I have fixed the doors. So black roof there. Let's turn that around and have a look down the other side. So it's got ladders present there. So that was available 58.65, the long box car. And then we've got the box car here. So this one's in bright orange. I think these are available yellow as well. It also has the bogies on it, doesn't it? The early bogies, a running theme here. So this was R114, 1954 to 60. So let's just have a look down the other side of this one. This is in fairly nice condition. Tiny bit of loss to the decals there. And I think I might have made these doors stay. Yeah, I've made these doors stay shut. I think I've got a little bit of blue tack inside there. As they rattle open, I think we'll probably find when we're running this, these will become open. And then we got the, so what was the box car? 114, 1954 to 60. And then we've got the stock car there in yellow, R126. So this was, what date are we on there? 1957 to 65. So again, we have got doors which open on there. And I think this was adapted for the giraffe car, with a giraffe that went up and down as it went over the magnetised piece of track, or it had a magnet item on the bottom of it to allow that to happen. So all fairly nice condition there. So we'll leave that one there. And the caboose, I was going to run this caboose, so sadly, I mean, I've had trouble with this one before. We've had it on the railway before, but if we look at the steps, these are enormous. Now I thought these would run on the Series 3, and they sort of don't. Let's see if we can get these on the rails for a moment and see where they're going. Here we go. So what was the number of the caboose? Let's grab the notes for a second. So caboose R115, 54 to 65. Again, I think this one transferred into the Canadian range of models. A number of variants on that as well. There we go. So if we look over here, see that collides with the point motor. I suspect on standard track that may not have been such an issue, but that's quite annoying. So we have this earlier style of point motor here as well. Let's have a look at this. I think it might just pass these with a little bit to spare. Yeah, so those ones there, but it is very, very, very low there. So these were the sort of slightly earlier style of point motors, but I suspect on standard track this was not an issue at all. But this is in fairly lovely condition. Tiny bit of loss to the decals on there, and I have had this running on another video, I think, just with a circle of track. But recently somebody sent me some things. Where have I put it? So let's grab this catalogue while we have it. We've got the 58 catalogue there. Here we go. And they sent me a rather beaten up caboose in with a bunch of things. So what I've done is renovate this. Well, not renovate. If you have a look at the insert picture there, you can see how it was. Fairly grubby, bent couplings. The chimney was missing, and I have fired up the 3D printer. Whilst I didn't draw a replica for the chimney for one of these, I just used the ones I was using for the old-time smoking cars. So I just printed one of those off, and we got one of those just stood in there at the moment. I'll get around to making another variant of that at some point. Had the wheels out of it, adjusted the spacing a little bit with some washers, and it's cleaned up relatively nicely. So this one, let's put this on the rails and see what sort of clearance we get. And again, I think have we got the same trucks on here? Same bogies? Let's have a look. Yeah, so I think we've got those earlier trucks on everything we're running. Well, this one we don't, and the stock car we don't. So let's see what clearance we have. Yeah, one of the steps was partially broken, so it's hanging on by a thread of plastic. So I've re-glued that into position. Quite wobbly, and I did when I took the wheels out, one set broke. Unfortunately, they were absolutely stuck fast. And as I tapped them out, they did sort of, they broke. So there, so that clears quite nicely, or enough not to really worry about it. So that's a later design, but I have an idea even that struggles on with Super 4. I think I heard a later Canadian one that struggled with the Super 4-point motors. So we'll get this lot on the rails in a moment, and we'll get that running around. I think we'll have the other tank locomotive with those silver and red coaches running as well. Let's have a look through this 58 catalogue. Well, not through it. We'll just have a look at a page in here, because I think all the models that we're going to play with here, I think they fall all on the same page. So there we go. We've got the TC Pacific there. Although this is a slightly later version where it's got the cowcatcher has dropped down to the bogie rather than moulded into the bodywork. Now we've got a boxcar with sliding doors, R114. I think these are sort of orange or yellow, and we've got a stock car. What number we got there? 126. We've got a caboose, 115. And then we've got the gondola, 116. We've got the same number on the side. Let's just grab this. Yeah, we got the same number on the side of that one. Very, very delicate, the numbers on there. This is quite interesting. The long box car. Let me grab the long box car here. We'll zip over there and we'll get that. This has got speedy service, TR. So, but this one here has got a thistle on the side, hasn't it? Well, it looks like a thistle to me. Maybe not, maybe. But I think we've got the same number. We've got TR 2703. And now we've got TR 2703 there. This one's seen better days. It's had a lot of playtime, this one. It's like, just noticed a chip out of the door there. So we'll just put that to one side. And then where have we got the caboose? Sorry, we've had the caboose, the long box car, the gondola, and we'll have some of these other ones out. But what I've noticed with my TC items is, as I've collected them, I haven't been as sort of up to date in getting them in running condition as I might have been with some of the other rolling stock. I've just whipped the top off the locomotive and have a look on the inside here. It's fairly original looking. I don't think it's seen a huge amount of action in its life. The acetate has survived amazingly well. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but it's got that lovely solid wheel sound about it. Let's see if we can go backwards. Tiny bit of hesitation there. So it's going to have a bit more of a rasp about it, I imagine, once you get that bodywork on it. Let's make that go forward again. It's coming from above. Yeah, so it's really quite an early one, I think, if it's got the cowcatcher built into the bodywork. I have, let's just put the controls down here. So I have filed off a bit of this to make it easier to go into the bodywork, which we'll just look at now, because the acetate does have a habit of shrinking, so I don't want it to shrink around the metal and split. So there's a securing screw just straight down the chimney. We're going to grab focus on that, so that just runs straight into there. So let's have a look at that's the cow catcher all moulded into the bodywork there, and those two prongs we're looking at in the front of the chassis, let's get those into shot there. So they lie into that area there. So bodywork's fairly nice. We've got made in England, upside down as usual. And you can see distortion through it. What have we got? Have we got the model number just in there? Am I going to be able to get that to show there? There we go, trying R.54. You can just see it there, just above centre of shot there. Let's turn this around carefully and let's have a look down both sides. We've got a little bit of loss on the numbers. Dummy lamp on the front. I think the later models they had a rivet in there, didn't they? And some models had a lamp and some didn't, and there was smoke available in these as well. And if we have a look in the back there, I don't know, can we get? Are we going to get any focus in here at all? No, I don't think we are. No, I'll put an insert picture there in the corner shot, see if we can get some cab. There is cab detail in there. But let's put that just to one side there. And let's have a look at this, a gorgeous tender. So look at the distortion in that. And we'll look down there, and it's all sort of bowed out, as well as that sort of kink in the middle there. Let's have a look down the underside there. Somebody has applied a weight in that. You can see that in there. There's a lump of lead in there, and we've got triang there, and then we've got the model number R32 for the tender. You can see previously I've put some wire in between the wheels there to improve the spacing, which makes it run a little bit more comfortably. It's never going to be terribly comfortable with that amazing distortion that we have in the plastic here. We've got a dummy lamp on the tail end of the tender there, and ladders up the back. Let's just pop that down again and have a look at the coal load. And you've got the water tank back here. Sorry, covering the entire model up there. So we'll just pop that on the rails. And hear that sort of soft sound of plastic against metal there. It's a really gorgeous thing. Let's just have a quick pick up of this and have a look over this whilst we're at it. So again, I think it's probably in reasonably original condition. So I do like the plain valve gear. Let's pop that down that way around and see if I can pick it up the other side. And just have a swift look in here. So many parts reused on other models. So I think that's a lovely item there. So I'll get the top back on that, and then we'll hook it up. I've got the freight on the rails here, and I've moved the Princess into a siding. I've put the 3F tender loco into the other line on the station there. So, and I've moved out the tank locomotive here, the 464 that we were having a look at before with the silver and red coacher. So I've got that on the outer line, and let's just have a look at these. These are very wobbly. And as you might expect, some of these wheels are the early mouldings, not entirely round. It makes a lovely sound, doesn't it? So I'm just moving that. Actually, let's see if we can just pick that up with the locomotive now. Whilst we've got the body off, we'll hear the difference in sound once we get the body on. Sorry, I keep looking over the camera here and looking at what I'm doing rather than where the camera is really pointing. I think I'm all right height-wise on there. There's a bit, there's a bit of leeway on there, so we're not sort of, so that's loose, so it's not holding any one set of wheels off the rails there. Let's see if we can encourage that to run backwards. So the coupling on the back of that tender is not as quite a nice an angle as it could be. So let's come right back, see if we can get that. So I would say that's sort of relatively effortless. We've got no magnet adhesion on here. We can hear some of these wagons clanking away as they rattle over the points. There we go. Body all back on, makes a slightly different noise. It takes it out of it a little bit in the curve there. And step back. And we'll look for stray rolling stock. So we've got the Mark II couplings in play here. Let's come above a little. It's a gorgeous item. I think you'd have been really happy with these as a child. So this is, what did we say, going back to 54 was it for this TC Pacific? Let's get in tight and have a look at that valve gear as we come around the corner here. I've seen quite a few sort of variations of this model. People made never wasers of it and look very smart. So it's quite a good starting point for other models. So I think perhaps let's see if we can get the other passenger train underway on the other line. See if we can get some shots of both trains passing each other. So here the TC Pacific coming in from the left now. Yeah, I think that clank we're hearing, I think that is the caboose, I think, or is it the gondola there? Look at the wobble on that. And there's a passenger train storming into shot. I think we'll follow the freight train. It's coming down here. Get close up to these wagons. There's a passenger train going to storm to the station. Let's have a close-up look at that. Gorgeous set of coaches. They look a bit duller than the silver painted ones, but they certainly do behave quite a lot better. Just look at that bend. It's amazing it still runs, isn't it? You remember, they are old toys. They're just sort of supposed to make you smile, they're not too serious. So stand well back now and have a look. When they do this train on the inside line with these older wagons, it's getting on for making the same sort of noise as one of those double O trains. It's quite a racket on the rails. But I think that's probably going to be about it for today. Thank you again for looking in. If you look back again next time, we'll try and have something else interesting to look at from the range. I'll see if I can get to work on a bit more of the TC stock and get it cleaned up, so we can have a few more interesting trains. Perhaps we'll get the slightly later variant of this model out to look at as we go forward.